So Tesla is a rather interesting company these days, and for good reason. You know, it all started back in 2000 and what I'm going to say, maybe 2007, 8, around that time. My memory is a little vague, but it all started with the Roadster and how everybody was so hyped about it because we were starting the jump for electric. Then we had the Model S, the Model X, the Model 3, and most recently the Model Y. And Elon has done a really good job of really revolutionizing the EV market. Not just by the way he presents it, but also what he's done outside of Tesla with SpaceX. So Tesla's come such a long way. But with their success and with all their products, now comes the hypocrisy, or whatever you want to call it, of these tech YouTubers to start jumping on the bandwagon and start as if they were friends with Tesla from the actual beginning. Now, I have no problem if you want to talk Tesla, or you want to talk about upcoming cars, or if you want to give people your opinion. That's fine. That's not a problem. My problem is the so-called reviewers that review these cars and they only make about maybe 2 videos and they're done. The reaction, and then maybe a 2-month later review, 6-month later review. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. I think some tech YouTubers don't know jack, well, I can't say the word for monetization, but don't know jack crap about Tesla. And let me explain why. So for starters, these YouTubers, obviously they have to show the car to the public, and a lot of people are looking to buy EV. That's why you make these videos. But some of these YouTubers are qualified, which I will say who I think are qualified that you should be watching. But you watch guys that have no idea about cars or engineers. They're not engineers. They just talk about it as if it's an iPhone. And I think that's a problem because when you're buying a car, you're paying thousands of dollars. Now, some people do leases. That's the new norm for most people because they like to have a new car every maybe 2 years, 3 years, depending on the lease. Some people like to buy their car straight out. Like me. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I am in the process of purchasing a Tesla Model Y. I am not buying a Model 3 because I just feel it's small, so I'm getting a Model Y. I won't be doing a lease. I'm going to own the car because that's what I like. I don't want to lease. I want to own it. I want to say this is my car. That's just me. So for those that can't afford to own it and go the lease route, that's cool. But there are some YouTubers that make videos about Tesla and it feels like they're trying to talk about it as if it's an iPhone. You guys don't understand, to those reviewers. This is an investment. This is something that people can't commonly do. A lease is one thing, but this is a car we're talking about. A car on average is supposed to last you maybe 10 years. I can speak for me. I have a 2002 Toyota. That's my upgrade. It still runs like a charm. So I'll see how Tesla holds up. But that car is almost 20 years old. So the fact that a almost 20-year-old car runs well is great. That's an investment. And you're talking like it's a product that you commonly get. That's my first problem. You're not talking to people about a car being an ownership. You don't even talk about the car itself. You talk about the interior, you talk about the outside, but do you ever talk about the nitty-gritty of what makes this car? Now, I understand people are not going to care about those things, but it would be nice for them to have an idea. So, for example, maybe you should tell them about the power inverters, or the differentials, or the electric motor. Talk about how they make them an all-wheel drive. Talk about the battery pack. Talk about how many cells are in each pack. Maybe the electric accelerator or the piston steering. Maybe something like that. Or what the hell, the air spinning inverter. Hell, maybe even talk about the aluminum chassis. Talk about some of those things. You guys don't because you're clearly not classified or in that discussion. You're clearly not qualified to talk about those things. So that's number one. Number two, some of you people that make these reviews are making them within the moment. You're not a long-term user. Let me give you an example. Some YouTubers that make these videos are long-term users that use the car on average and use these videos to help inform people. When I see a video that just makes a video called Tesla Review, why it's the most important car, that's because you're reviewing it now. You haven't used it for a year. Now, we're going to focus on the Model Y. Marcus came out with a video for the Model Y, and I'll be honest with you. I watched the video. Again, well-made video. My problem with that, Marcus, is that that's not your main car. you've been on record that you've used the Model S, the Model 3. Those are the only two cars, in my opinion, you are qualified to talk about. Because you haven't used the Model Y on average. You claim there are faulty issues, which are true, but how would you know that? Have you used it long enough to notice it? Have you used it long enough to take it to a repair shop? That's why I don't take your word, Marcus. If you're talking about the Model S or the Model 3, then I'll take your word for it because you've used that longer. I would rather trust you with those cars than this particular model because you don't use it long enough and you haven't used it long enough. The car only came out a year ago and they just started shipping. So I wouldn't take his word on that. Another problem is some of these YouTubers that make these videos, they never talk about them again. What is the point of making a review if you're not going to inform people of any issues? That leads into who I think you should trust. I have a couple of names and a couple of YouTubers that I think you should be trusting when it comes to Tesla. For starters, Bearded Tesla Guy. I love that man. He's a family man. He owns the Model Y. He makes videos constantly every day about any issues that his Tesla has, and he informs you well because that's the Model Y. So I would trust him over Marcus or any other reviewer. Ryan Shaw, another great YouTuber who makes all Tesla, who owns the Model Y as well, and also is reviewing it and giving you day-to-day uploads on any issues. That's number 2. And number 3, most recently, Tesla Canic. He's a guy from Canada who, again, owns the Model 3 long-term, does long-term reviews, and again, focuses only on Tesla. That's the key takeaway and why I'm saying that they don't know what they're talking about, some of these tech YouTubers. Your main priorities are tech, but Tesla's not one of your priorities. You focus on iPhone, Samsung, Google, all those companies. But when we're talking about a car company that's EV, you try to throw your hat in there trying to think that you could pass this on like it's an iPhone or a Galaxy phone. Here's the problem. If you're not owning that car you want to talk about, if you don't own it or don't know enough about it, I don't think you should be talking it. I think people that should talk Tesla are the ones that know the mechanics, that have the car long term, that are able to inform the people of every day-to-day use, just like the 3 users that I have named. I think they're more qualified, and most of all, to those reviewers, talking about Tesla doesn't just generate views for you, but you also need to know what you're talking about. So next time you talk about Tesla, you better make damn sure you know what exactly you're talking about. And I'm not talking about Marcus, because Marcus does have an idea. I would just say to those others that don't, make sure you read a book, or maybe read the instructions manual once in a while, because that's probably doing them better than you sitting and talking about it like it's an iPhone.